Hey guys, I'm Steven here with Team Covenant, and I'm joined by two of my friends, Zach and Tim.
I am Zach.
And we love Star Wars, and so we were just amped because Balance of the Force arrived shortly, I guess a couple days ago here. We've opened it. I haven't seen some of the cards. That's kind of a lie. I've seen them all, but I haven't really looked at them. I know you guys have probably looked at them as well, and we're gonna unbox this thing. And there's a lot to this, right? So this is a box that had a lot of things going on. It officially introduced the 2v2 format, even though we already played a 2v2 at Worlds before this released.
Yep. So
the rules have been out there for a while. So it's the official 2v2 box. It released some objectives that are usable in both 1v1 and 2v2. Who knows if they'll be used in 1v1? We will talk about that shortly.
It's important to note there's one legal objective for each affiliation.
Yes.
And each objective is limit one per objective deck.
Yes.
So technically one deluxe gets you a playset of legal cards.
One deluxe is the whole thing, which is always good news.
It's very good news.
That's not how they did the first deluxe, so it's important to note.
Yeah, that's very good. And then we also have these challenge decks in there that are only legal in the challenge format, and they can only be used there. So you can't take them outside of some of the scenarios found in this box. And we're going to cover those as well. But we're going to break it up over a few different videos. So if you want to see some of the more challenge deck type stuff, you can find those videos elsewhere. Today, on this video, we're going to be talking about the 6 objective sets that are legal in both 2v2 and 1v1. They're not exclusive to the challenges in the box. So you might see these at 1v1 tournaments. You might see them, of course, in 2v2. And you probably just see them a lot. You probably see them everywhere. So we wanted to talk about these and see if they're going to find a place in some of our 1v1 decks as well. Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is going to be the true sign of a healthy 2v2 format, is if you can see things that are not just used in 2v2, but that you actually have the kind of shifting of these objectives between single player and multiplayer decks. I think that will be the test for Fantasy Flight. See if they can nail both with single objective sets.
It's a task.
So we're going to check it out, starting out with Watchers in the Wasteland. And I requested to start with this one because this objective set means a lot to me. I got to say.
Brings it home.
You can maybe imagine why, but we always talk about the art, and art in a game is kind of the thing that underlies, it's the foundation that you don't really pay attention to until you truly realize that it is bringing you into this world. It's really enhancing your experience. And when I look at this card, Watchers in the Wasteland, my heart is filled with like that sense, the true sense of Star Wars, right? Like the expanded, like there's no boundaries here. It's like it's complete freedom, it's space, it's like there's frontiers everywhere. And you look at this card and it's just like, you got a little thing up here, guy looking over there on Tatooine, and it's just like this giant desert. And it's like, what's he up to? He's got his own agenda, and it's just like it's a frontier here. So
it's amazing.
That's the first thing I saw when I opened the pack, and I thought to myself, this is Star Wars, undoubtedly. It just gave me the Star Wars vibe.
Who did the illustration?
Ralph Macari.
Good work.
Macari. So thank you, Ralph. This was very, very well done. It really filled me with a sense of discovery, and that's why I love Star Wars.
So what do we get? What's the objective here?
Well, it's limit 1 per objective deck, of course. It got 1 resource and 5 health, so it's a standard objective here. It's a Jedi objective. And each card in a light side common reserve contributes 1 Force icon to your side during the Force struggle.
Seems good.
So obviously this objective ability only useful in 2v2 and some of the multiplayer stuff. But what does this ultimately mean, Zach? Now you're the 2v2 master, right? We can't talk about 2v2
that.
without saying,
Are you not the 2v2 world champion?
The world champion with Matt Cole, Zach Bunn. So in order to have 2 cards in the common reserve, when you get to the Force struggle, right? This essentially means that you haven't played those cards during your turn. Like they've sat in the common reserve, right?
Absolutely.
Now how often does that actually happen?
It's pretty
common?
Pretty common. I think it's more common on the dark side because you're playing defense and you want to win the edge battles, and both players can use those. But even on the light side, there are several turns where you go into the turn and there's a twist of fate, or there's some card there. I think my bigger concern with the card is sometimes you don't want to win the Force struggle.
Yeah.
But if this objective set, which I'm assuming it will, and there'll be plenty of cards, I'm sure, throughout the course of the game that want you to win the Force struggles, the light side.
Yeah.
So I can really see this bolstering a lot of those cards in 2v2 that might not be as good in 1v1 because you don't win the Force struggle as often against Palpatine and Vader and whatnot. But anytime you can get Force icons on the Force without having to commit something, watch out.
Yeah, I feel like this is a Jedi theme that consistently sees a little more support every now and again, where it's like, if you win the Force struggle, this awesome thing happens. I think that's where the Jedi are going to kind of differentiate themselves from the Rebels and smugglers. Is like, they're the faction that wants to win the Force struggle against the dark
They ought
side.
to be, right?
Yeah, and it feels right.
They should be winning the Force struggle.
All right, well, let's go to Old Ben here.
I'm so happy to get another Obi-Wan.
I'm so happy too. Now, you and I both have been known to run the other one, even though some folks don't like him. But he's a 5-cost unique character and a Force user. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same icon spread on the old one.
Absolutely the same stat line and cost.
So everything's the same here. Obviously, always good in an edge battle. He has a black blaster pistol, unit damage, and then a black tactics, which is critical, actually. That plays a huge role in his effectiveness. And then the edge-enabled tactics and edge-enabled objectives. So he can really spread it out, spread it around. He is elite, and he has a new reaction, a new ability here. It used to be that you have to play the first card in the edge battle face-up. Your opponent did. This one says after you win a Force struggle, each friendly player may return the top card of his discard pile to his hand. Now that's pretty cool, because keep in mind that this is, after all your edge battles have resolved, you're going to the end of your turn. The Force struggle is the last thing that you do. So whatever card you played last, which might be, who knows, could be a high edge card. It could be Return of the Jedi, the one where you put one back in your discard pile and play. Like, let's say you play that, and now you get it back into your hand. You can play it again.
I mean, the one I'm picturing is Jedi Mind Trick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go if I win my Force struggle, and then we go to your turn, I have the balance of the Force. So Jedi Mind Trick, put 2 focus on something on your turn, which means I can probably keep the Force. And that's the last card I've used. So if I win your Force struggle, it's going to come back into my hand, and I can literally play that card every time on your turn.
As long as Obi's out, I mean, every Force struggle, dark side and light side that you win, you're getting a card back. Helps you in the edge battles. Helps you.
It's never a bad idea to get more cards in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really useful reaction. I would not be surprised if we see players abusing this in some manner. And it's each player. So there's a lot of really good ways to use it. Again, it's just a huge boost in you wanting to win the edge battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like drawing a card going into your opponent's turn. You imagine you attack and you drop a Yoda into the Force struggle. Then you win the edge battle, put him back, you now have him again and again and again and again. So I don't know. I love the idea of a Jedi deck that's trying to actively win the Force struggle.
It seems very cool. And of course, if you take this into 2v2, winning Force struggle, each friendly player.
That's what I was saying.
Now both people are drawing
Yeah.
It's great 1v1, great 2v2. I think this is a really solid Obi-Wan.
And how depressing, you Force Lightning a Falcon off the board, or you get it, you finally get rid of it somehow, and then it's just like, oh, now it's back in my hand.
Feels very thematic. Feels correct. Like this is a great Obi-Wan.
I'm kind of just sad that you can only run one.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. So let's see what else we got.
We've got the Shistavanen. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I did that real quick. Shistavanen.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Let's call him Wolfman.
The Wolfman. 3 costs, 2 Force icons, which is solid. He is a neutral character, so that can often be a very good thing. He has a black unit damage and a black objective damage. Edge 1, which is significant. And after you win a Force struggle by 3 or more Force icons, put him into play from your discard pile. Are you seeing a theme here?
There's a theme.
Are you seeing a theme
It
here?
exists.
Now, it's interesting because you don't want this guy to be on the top of your discard pile.
Well, so technically, you can...
If you have Obi out, that's it.
But you can trigger the reactions in whatever order you want, right? So you can react here, put him in, and now Obi's digging through to get the one that you want.
I mean...
the one that I want?
So first off, let's talk about Edge 1. I love Edge.
Oh, it's so good.
Edge is huge.
Being able to attack and pass, and especially if you're sitting in like a Twist of Fate. That's with the Falcon, I can't get over it. You attack, pass, twist. It's so evil. Anyways, so you get 2 of this guy, and he can come back anytime you want a Force struggle. That is... I'm picturing...
By 3 or more. So you have to win it pretty hard.
But I mean, this is perfect edge card, right?
Oh,
so you block, dump him in the edge card, get it, assuming you can win Balance of the Force. He just, anytime in the game comes back.
And put him into play.
Like,
amazing.
This is my kind of thing.
And I feel like this is the persistent threat that Jedi was kind of needing, because sometimes you get your big dudes out there, and some of your tiny dudes are so susceptible to Force choke. Like this Jedi in hiding just just get wrecked.
They are gone.
I mean, Vader out, and it's like
or
nothing.
Shockwave, or any number of Sith removal effects, really.
So I like that this gives them a way to keep things on the board, and
that's so mean.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, you get 2 of those, and I think those are a solid card. Moving on to Force Cleansing, another card that absolutely defines Star Wars to me. This is the first card. Listen, so.
Man, you love this objective. I can feel it.
I can't get over this. This is just random dude, and I'm sorry, internet. People are gonna get mad because they don't know what the race of this guy is. I just call them flatheads, but that's not canon. I should say. But this card, Force Cleansing, again brings me into the Star Wars universe that we never saw. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like this is just a guy meditating in what is an awesome-looking forest, and he's probably up to something awesome that we don't know the story of. And
all
so
of
now
this is correct.
We're kind of making the story as you go along, and that to me is one of the strengths of games like this. Well, let's see what Force Cleansing does. It's a 1 cost event, or I'm sorry, enhancement.
Yeah, it's a Jedi enhancement.
Force and Control. It's a control enhancement, which is pretty cool. It's got 1 Force icon on it. Enhance a friendly character unit.
Important that that's not a Force user.
Yeah.
Just so we're aware.
Yes, any character.
Some of those Jedi enhancements just wreck your hand.
After the Death Star dial increases, remove a focus token and damage from the enhanced unit. I feel like this is really solid. This is what Luke Skywalker on demand kind of stuff. Like this is it gives that same kind of Luke feel.
It's Luke. It's
anything.
Yoda.
Yeah.
It's Obi-Wan. It's anytime the dial goes out.
Good on anybody.
Yeah, I mean so every start of the dark side player's turn. It's also the situations where light side needs to attack with everything on a turn, and then you get your blocker, so you block, you get focused down, even if they blow the objective up. You now get unfocused and damage again. Like you get to keep just. It could be awful in an engagement. Like I'm just picturing a Star Destroyer attacks and you block with Yoda, and it's like, all right, he hits. I'm gonna let you strike because I'm gonna focus something else. You focus for striking. Objective gets blown up. Yoda gets to strike again, hitting the Star Destroyer again, putting another focus on another. Like there's just so many ways to use this that's a beautiful enhancement, and it only costs 1, so any must go gets it out for free.
Making any character have Luke Skywalker's ability at worst.
Yeah, at worst. Yeah. For 1, I think this is super solid. Of course, it makes sense on Yoda because of the enhancement stuff that he can do. And it really, I think, solves one of the issues that a lot of these characters were having, which is, A, they can just be focused down. I mean, if you invest 7 to 8 resources in a guy with some enhancements on him, and they put a few focus on him, it's like, well, shoot, now that's like 1 to 2 turns that I can't use him. And then it removes damage, so you can't stack up damage over first turn, second turn, and then kill him. And now there's my 9-10 resources off the board. So
yeah, it's pretty. I mean, just considering how many games you see Palpatine get out turn 2 or turn 1 with Holocron, and they just totally sink Obi-Wan or Luke or Yoda, and you just have no way. It's because focusing down a character at this point is potentially better than killing it most times, because if I focus Yoda with 4 focus, it's 2 turns probably of no Yoda. Whereas if I Force Lightning Yoda and he's gone, you could Return of the Jedi him. You could draw another one and play him. Yeah. So it actually acts.
You could Obi-Wan him.
You could Obi-Wan him at this point.
Ooh.
So at this point, to me, this makes it questionable whether you even want to bury someone under the Force as opposed to killing them. And it's just another answer, really. I mean, I think it's a strong card. Can go on any character. And it makes really any character a problem.
Man, I can just imagine some abuse here. I'm not even going to put my head to it. Finally, we get a supporting fire, which we'll see a lot of in these objective sets. It's one Force icon in the Edge battle. It's a Fate card, Fate 7. Target friendly player may place 1 non-Fate card from his hand into your Edge stack, which could include yourself. So you can target yourself and place 1 in your Edge stack.
This card is ridiculous.
It just changes. It changes the world here, especially 2v2. It just gets looted.
It's crazy.
Edge battles just become insane.
Yeah, I mean there were so many games in the 2v2 at Worlds where I'm sitting on 1 or 2 cards, or there's 1 card in common reserve, and when you see an opponent like that, you can kind of attack him knowing he's only got so many Edge cards. He can't win the Edge battle. This totally changes the rules of that game 100%.
Yeah.
And in 2v2, I think this is obviously massive. It's a crazy Edge card. But I've already had it played against me in 1-on-1, and it wrecked me.
Yeah.
It just wrecked me.
Yeah.
Just being able to see it, it's just ridiculous.
Takes a lot of the risk out of the Edge battle.
Absolutely takes the risk out. I mean, it's a fantastic opener. Typically you can play a twist down or something. This is another just You play it first. They play. You see if you can even win the edge battle.
Yeah,
Because
just
sometimes
pass.
the cards don't even add up in your hand, and you also get to check if they're twisting, if they're heat of battling, because it doesn't matter if you win the edge battle if your character's dead.
Yeah,
It's just such a good utility card.
really good. You want to see this. So
100%.
Man, I think this is a fantastic start to this, right? We have an objective that really only works, well, not really, but it only works in multiplayer formats. But then all the cards in the objective set are pretty boss in 1v1 and in 2v2. So
I think
can't
this
ask for better.
objective set is good enough, like beyond good enough. I think it will get used in 1-on-1.
I think we'll see it.
It'll get used in 2-on-2. And considering it's 1 in 10 objectives, it's very rare that you'll even have the objective out. But even when you do, it's a 5-1. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
it's not crazy, but
There are
not
worse
every
things to
objective
have.
is just
If it
going
was
to always do
4-1,
something.
Yeah. All you do, you draw your 4. If it's in there, you don't play it. You know. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
not a big
think
deal.
I absolutely think this objective will be played across the board.
So fantastic.
Speaking of objectives that will be played,
Very well done. Yeah, speaking of
Tim,
objectives
going to
that
the
will be
next
played,
one,
let's see what we have next. The Rebel objective.
up next we have the Rebel objective. It is Blue Squadron support. It's a
Now-
5-1. It's Rebel. Limit 1 per objective deck, like all of these other ones. It has an action on it. Focus this objective to have each friendly player look at the top 2 cards of his deck. You add one of those cards to his hand and put the other at the bottom of his deck.
So good.
It's so good.
That's so
It's
good.
so good.
That's
As
so,
Tim Bunn would
that's
say.
so good.
It's so good,
It's
and we
so
caught him
good.
saying it. It's his tagline.
Even in 1v1, this is awesome. Because I can do it to myself. It's like,
Yeah.
there's been so many times I've drawn and it's like, man, I need to see more cards.
Yeah.
Like if I draw 1 card here, I win the game.
I mean, I don't want to get into this like particular examples, but I'm picturing so many times when I'm using Rebel cards, defense you have 4 is on the table. A resource for a card is basically like having a resource in my hand, except for I get to see more cards. And how many times, if you're looking across at your opponent's board and it's like, man, if they draw Rebel Assault, I lose.
that's what I was thinking. It's
It's like, I'm gonna
I just
dig.
need to see.
Yeah, so this ability in 2v2 is insane.
Yeah, it's even
insane.
it's insane in 2v2, and in 1v1, this is solid.
Solid.
In 1v1 solid. Now, I want to note here on the 2v2 train that the 2v2 ship that this is important for me because you could actually use this in the refresh stage or even in the draw stage. But in the refresh phase in particular, because the way it works when you're taking your phases is the right player takes his phase first, then the left player. So a lot of times I don't know what card I need to put in the common reserve or what cards I need to discard because we don't know what he's going to draw, my teammate. In this case, it's kind of a peak where you get a look and like set the stage. You both do it, and it's like, oh, this is what we're going to keep. It helps you make that decision earlier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think the ability on this objective, if the cards in this objective are good, this is going to be a no-brainer.
This
This is
ability.
fantastic.
We spoiled this a while back.
We
yeah.
did. We had the exclusive spoiler.
So we
on
know
it.
it's pretty solid. But
Up
I need a
next-
refresher for sure.
Up next, we have the Blue Leader. He is a unique character, or a unique unit. He's 3 cost, 2 force bubbles. He has 2 black blast damage and 1 edge-enabled
Enough said.
unit
man.
damage. He's a vehicle and a fighter. Wedge loves this guy. Reaction: after this unit is focused to strike as an attacker, deal 1 damage to a target objective not currently engaged.
I want to say,
Man.
whatever was
Man.
previously said about this objective was probably wrong in our video because this is insane.
I think that we said it was insane.
Okay,
Or
'cause
I said it was insane.
I don't remember what I said, but
And
if
Tim
I
said
didn't,
that
if I
is
said
so
anything
good.
less than this card is so good, then I was wrong.
Because this card is so good.
for 3, I mean, you're paying
2 health as well.
You're
which is
paying 1
good.
more than a Y-wing.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting an extra health. You're getting a edge-enabled unit damage, and both of your blast
2
damage are
black, yeah.
And the
not
extra health
edge-enabled,
is so big.
and an ability from hell, basically. Like, this is insane. How many objectives are, as long as it's not damaged? It's this,
A lot.
especially in
See a
2v2.
Vader's fist, yeah.
In 2v2, you will see Vader's fist. You will all those bad objectives.
Yeah.
You will see, and this is a fantastic answer to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, continue.
Wholeheartedly.
Sorry to go.
No,
off
I
on that.
agree. It's phenomenal. It's going in.
It would be
Uh,
really bizarre to fly a B-wing also. I think it would be like one of the hardest ships to fly.
I can see that.
Because like imagine if you have to go sideways a lot of the time. It's like that becomes weird. I guess it's space.
Well, there is
though.
no sideways.
Yeah.
There
I
is no
guess it's
sideways in space. If you're in space, but like if you're like trying to fly through a canyon or something, it'd be crazy.
Anyway, up
Space
next we
canyon.
have just
Places
a
we go.
generic B-wing. He's neutral. He's 2 cost with a 1 force bubble. He's a vehicle fighter with 2 health. He has black unit damage and 2 edge-enabled blast damage. He also has a reaction that says after this unit is focused to strike, each other friendly player draws 1 card.
If it didn't say other, this would be a bonkers unit.
Yeah.
But as it is,
it
it's
already,
still great.
It already is a bonkers unit.
Yeah.
All right, so in 2v2, this is crazy. This is just insane. This objective set is going to go in every 2v2 deck ever. But, again, comparing it to the Y-Wing, 2 cost, you get an extra health, you get a non-edge-enabled unit damage, your second blast damage becomes edge-enabled as opposed to Y-Wings at 1 of each. But it's so much more important, that 2 health.
The extra health, the 1 health Y-Wing is what sucks about the Y-Wing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get shockwaved, you get Force Choke Evader on board. There's so many ways to do 1 damage.
Heat of battle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
heat
the
of
worst.
battle.
It's like if they have heat of battle, if they don't have a heat of battle here, I win the game.
Yeah.
And then they have it, and you're like, oh.
You just cry yourself to sleep.
They always have it.
So I think this is a massive, massive upgrade to the Y-Wing, and you get 2 of them.
You get 2 of them.
You get to
And
have it.
it's important to note it's a 2-cost vehicle. So if you happen to be running attack pattern Delta,
Who runs that card?
you now have an objective that has 2-cost awesome units in it. This is going to find a home in a lot of decks.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see what else we get.
Up next, we have a Rebel event. It's 1 cost. It's called Rapid Fire. It has 3 Force icons. You can play it only during your turn.
All right.
Action, target up to 2 units, each controlled by a different opponent. Deal 1 damage to each targeted unit.
I love this card.
It's so good.
I love this card.
It's fantastic for the Rebels. They get a 3-edge icon card. They get an event that costs 1. And the other night, actually, I had Advisor of the Emperor blocking. Got knocked off by this, and it was like, yep.
Like,
yeah.
paying 1 for 1 damage is
1 for 1 damage, not
fine.
bad.
Paying 1 for 2 damage is insane.
And a lot of times they'll have a Royal Guard or something take 2 damage, and this card is. It's
And let's just hold the phone and not forget those 3 Force icons.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
Rebels
number
with
1
the-
thing on
with
this
a
card.
3 Force icon, like essentially.
I can finally win an edge battle.
And again,
Without
I think
spears.
this is usable in 1v1. It's not enough to make this objective set bad. And most importantly, in 2v2,
It blows
this
it
thing
up.
is crazy.
Blows it up.
Just crazy
It's-
good.
It's insane.
It also
You
looks
guys each
like,
have a duty
um,
officer? See you.
It also looks like you're playing Star Fox, which
It does.
is another
Which is always a benefit.
hugely beneficial thing. The obelisks everywhere on this one.
Can never
It's
have enough
important.
obelisks.
It's important.
And then to round out the pack, we have another
Yeah,
supporting
support.
fire, which we've already talked about.
I'm going to go ahead and say that objective set is insanely good.
It's going in most vehicle decks.
And that one, I mean, this one has everything is great. No, everything is phenomenal in 2v2.
Phenomenal in 2v2.
And good in 1v1, if not better than good in 1v1.
Everything
So-
is above average in 1v1, and everything is crazy good in 2v2.
I agree.
So, and also important to note in the challenge decks as well. It's fantastic. So, I can't see that card not being used. Double negative for the win.
I cannot see it not being used.
All right, what's next?
Next up, we have Rindar's Wrath.
Mm.
Assuming is alluding to Dash.
Yes.
It's a 5/1.
I don't know.
Ord Mantell. I'm really hoping they do location-based things along the line at some point.
I'm
Limit 1 per
gonna
objective
never do
deck.
that.
Reaction. After an opponent declares only 1 unit as a defender, deal 1 damage to that unit.
Somebody,
It's good.
Somebody give me a signal over there. That is incredible. Also, IG88's on that card.
He is, which means
So-
Steven will always use
I mean,
this
look
objective
at
set.
how glory-filled he looks, too. He's in the background
He's
there.
got the pose.
the
Got the
light.
sunlight coming from behind him.
What a boss.
Yeah.
I want that card.
He's good. I think that ability is
It's good.
really good.
It's very good.
Oh, gosh.
I
It
mean-
just fits right into the smuggler thing.
It's in the right place at the
I
right
just
time.
that is so is
Fits right in there.
that's
Can't
good.
block with your advisor anymore.
Yeah. So let's see what else we get. We get Dash Rendar, unique, 4 cost smuggler unit, 2 force icons, 2 objective damage. He's a character. He's a smuggler. He's a mercenary. He's elite. He also looks awesome. He's got 3 health, which is super important in my brain. Action. During an engagement, spend 1 resource to have this unit gain a unit damage icon until the end of the engagement. Any friendly player may initiate this effect.
This guy's a boss, man.
He's good.
He's a boss.
Notice that there's no limit on this.
No, there's not.
I'm going to pay 1, get 1, pay 1, get 1, pay 1, get 1, and you're dead.
I like that it really allows for some interesting. I mean, smugglers love holding that 1 smuggler resource anyway. It's like, do I have it swindled or not? Ha ha ha. And then you can give them the choice, right? Let's say you have a swindled and Dash is attacking. It's like, okay, I could either bounce that unit or I could pay 1 to kill that unit. And like you have so many great options now with that 1 or 2 resources open. And in 2v2, In 2v2?
Yeah, in 2v2, this is crazy. I mean, either
You
player
can threaten everything.
can block with this or attack with this. I mean, he's just, with the 2 objective damage,
3 health, the whole package.
he is good. I mean, I think he's good on offense and defense. He's cost 4, which is an issue, but he's also a smuggler, which means that you have the Millennium Falcon. So I can really see this guy pairing super well with the Millennium Falcon and just bringing some pain.
Do we have a way to give a consistent way to give him targeted strike yet? Because I feel like that is a thing that's about to destroy.
We don't have.
When that happens, beware. It's like I'm going to spend 5 resources to kill this 5 health unit over there. I like it.
I'm going to give him a very usable. And
Very
you
usable.
can only run one. I don't think you would want to run a deck like with a bunch of him, but him popping out occasionally is going to work in your
Well,
favor.
you can only ever have one, so
It's the truth.
they solved the problem.
They did solve that problem.
One very usable thumbs up.
Next up, we have 2 Arcona Rumor Mongers. 1 cost, 1 Force Icon, 1 Edge-enabled unit damage, 1 health. Character, while this unit is attacking alone, in order to declare any defenders, an opponent must declare at least 2 defenders.
I feel like this doesn't synergize very well with the objective.
But
It's good.
Does it synergize with across the Anduin and raise the stakes?
Shall do.
Yes.
The interesting thing here is, I think in 1v1, this card is going to be much less useful than in 2v2. Because in 2v2, this is just so annoying. Like, because, if Steven has one of these guys out and I'm attacking, it's like, you're going to have to save blockers to even block him. And if he does have across the Anduin and raise the stakes, that's just mean. Or if I have it,
It's mean.
if I'm attacking first and you have to use 2 to block, like, there's just so many issues that are created by this.
That's where I see it. It's like if I drop him and a sleuth, right? And let's say typical first turn, let's say you have a heavy stormtrooper squad, maybe an advisor or like a kawaii security or just
Call it
some
a Royal Guard.
two cost units that you have to hold back, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna swing with this guy first.
Can't block, man.
You can either block and kill this 1 cost.
You're not
nothing.
blocking. You are not blocking.
You're not blocking, but then you're taking 3 damage to you for if you have raised the stakes and Anduin out. It's just the same as that sleuth
Even
conundrum.
if you just have one of them out, you're taking 3 damage on an objective
For a 1 cost. Little
for a 1 cost. And do you really want to force choke this guy?
No, you don't. But and heaven forbid, like I'm just gonna swindle before I attack, and now you can't even defend him. You have 1 unit out there. It's like okay.
Yeah, and I mean
free shots.
he's also
I love the flavor of the attacking alone for smugglers.
with the edge enabled
so good.
unit damage. A single heat of battle. Let's say you do block. I mean, he can kill something, and I have a 1 cost unit that force you to block with 2 guys, and I mean, how many games do you have your opponent and you're looking across and it's Vader and Palpatine, and it's like,
Yeah. Hey.
yeah, it's like, do you really want to block
me.
into that?
I
So
think he's massive, man. I think he's massive. I think he synergizes hugely.
well, he's
with all these
tiny,
yellow
which
cards.
makes him massive. He's a warmonger. I think he's interesting. I'm not gonna say it's not as obviously good as the Rebel objective set, but I think a good player is going to be able to use this card effectively, and that's what matters.
These yellow
it's going to have
cards,
options.
man.
They're yellow.
They're so good at synergy. They are so good.
Next up, we have a 0 cost smuggler event called Smuggling Shipment, and it's an action. It's 2 force icons. Action: target up to 2 resource generating cards, each controlled by a different friendly player. Remove 1 focus token from each targeted card.
So let's talk about 1v1. At worst, it's an extra resource, right? You can unfocus, or you can unfocus something and then swindle that
The
they
big
didn't
thing is
expect.
it's a surprise resource.
Yeah, or surprise Rendar damage, etc.
If you really need to do it.
In 2v2, incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, it can just give you the extra punch to really put what you need to get out on the board down, play Rebel Assault, or whatever you need to do.
I just see a lot of, I'm going to smuggle a shipment into a swindle, and it's going to catch people off guard.
It's
'Cause
really
you can't,
yeah.
you can't, do they have it or not? Like,
Yeah,
it's
they're
not
just
like,
blank cards.
I think potentially the more interesting use of the card is it says resource generating, which includes resource generating characters.
Mhm.
So, you have a Bail Organa that potentially has a couple tactics on him, and you can use it to remove his focus and strike again.
I love it.
You can also do it with Echo Caverns.
You can do it with Echo Caverns.
How about those Cloud City operatives, right? And they don't resource produce. I'm trying to think. I went to tactics icons. What other resource generating tactics icons are they? Do smugglers have any?
Mon Mothma has one.
I'm trying to think of the yellow ones.
They have all the good cards, is what matters. Lobot, technically,
I
right?
think, yeah.
Lobot.
I think this with Echo Caverns is crazy.
That
Yeah.
is insane.
Now that I think about
Yeah.
it.
You're right, yeah.
And I think really just
I'm going to move that.
It's
Yeah.
like,
I'm going to play this. I'm going to move another one.
Yeah, the trick here, I think, is this is the first of the 3 objective sets we've seen in this box that I think is going to be better in 2v2 than it is in 1v1. These cards are totally usable in 1v1, but in 2v2, I'm just picturing, someone's going to have an Echo Caverns out, and someone's going to have a character that generates a resource. So you can get a lot done with this card and be really just a huge surprise.
let's not forget the obvious synergy where dash attacks, smuggling shipment, and then you and your opponent can each trigger to give him 2 unit damage. So that's solid.
It's good stuff. And, of course, we finish off with a supporting fire.
Why not? Why
So
not?
I don't know. I think the problem here is that the yellow cards are just so good that it's going to be tough to beat out those objective sets to get this into a 1v1.
I'll get one in.
You're a different breed. But in 2v2, this absolutely makes the deck. No
Yeah.
question. I think it'll fit in a really good way. So I'm curious to see if it makes any waves in 1v1.
People are going to fear those rumor mongers.
I think
Mark
that's
my words.
accurate.
Mark my
Mark my
words.
words.
Force choke.
Well, let's move on to the dark side then, shall we, gents? Starting with the Emperor's Hand, a
That art.
Coruscant objective.
Oh, that art.
Emperor's Hand is really doing it there.
1 resource, 5 health. And is this Mara here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely mine.
Limit 1 per objective deck, of course. Each card in a dark side common reserve, which is 1 force icon, to your side during the force struggle. I feel like
Seems
we've
familiar.
seen that before. So,
So
yeah.
no effect in 1v1, but
It's better on the dark side, though, right? We've determined that generally they have more cards sitting in the common reserve at the end of the turn.
I would say that. I don't know if
For now.
that is the ultimate truth, but I would say that is the case.
All right, well, let's jump right in here to Mara Jade.
Can't really get bigger
We've all
than
been
this.
waiting for 4 cost Mara Jade, unique 3 force icons, 3 also black icons there, a unit damage, an objective damage, and a tactics icon. So
Got the
she
full
does
spread.
it all. A character and a force user with targeted strike, and now even just 1 unit damage targeted strike can be great against said rumor mongers and whatnot, Y-wings,
the
etc. Reaction: after your turn ends, remove 1 focus token from this unit. Then you can give control of this unit to another friendly player. Massively crazy, and 3 health on this.
I love that she has that ability like Luke does. It's just fun. I love it.
It's important to note
Flavor-wise.
you don't have to be able to give control of her to someone else to remove the focus. So she basically has the same ability as Luke, except for it's at the end of your turn, not the start of their turn.
Phenomenal.
If there's a difference there,
With the tactics icon, that is so good.
I think it's good.
It's super good. I just love that it's that way.
Yeah, and I mean,
Luke
really,
and Mara, man.
to me,
Sitting in a tree.
to me, this really ups the value of Vader's lightsaber in my brain, because it's actually useful on her. I think it's useful on Vader, but it's just another.
Just
You
another
need
unit
more
damage,
cards. You're gonna run Vader. It's just gonna happen.
The blaster pistol's getting a lot better too.
Yeah, the blast first is also good. Targeted strike for 2
Boba's
damage
coming, man.
is big.
Yeah.
Not true.
Anyways, she's great. I love the art on that is just ridiculous.
That's very good. It's
so
just good.
I'm very happy with this card. That's all I have to say.
I love that tactics icon. That's one thing that really, and just having no edge enabled nonsense. It's like, this is what I do, and then I refresh myself.
It is what she did.
She's 3 health as well. Worth noting.
2 3 cost Agent of the Hands, 2 force icons there, a black unit damage and an edge enabled objective damage, a character 2 health. So we're doing okay so far. After you take control of a unit or play a card from another player's common reserve, remove 1 focus token from this unit.
I think this unit is only good in 2v2.
Not doing much for me in 1v1 here.
I wouldn't say only good. It's a unit, but it is not good in 1v1. It is bad. 3 cost. If it had been 2 cost, maybe. I see why they did 3 cost for that ability for 2v2. And the fact that you get 2 of these, this is really going
Are
to
we
drag this
tanking the
objective.
set here?
This objective set just went.
Like it was on its way up,
Not
and then
good.
it. Yeah.
Even in 2v2, removing a focus token from this isn't lighting the world on fire.
I mean,
But it makes it playable.
It
Like,
does.
it's like
And maybe you commit him to the force, 2 icons.
The-
still 3
uh,
cost.
the thing about in 2v2 is, there's a lot of times you'll put a force choke or, some kind of card like that you can do during an engagement. I think that could be important, where you can get the extra unit damage they weren't expecting. Even just threatening that could be big, but still, three cost is so much for this.
It's just not very shiny here.
No.
It's really not.
Let's hope the rest of the objectives.
Let's move on to Join Me, one of the shiniest cards in the set.
It's my favorite art in the set.
It's good art.
2 cost, 1 force icon. It is an event, a Sith event, which is important for triggering both, the random event cards like, I don't know, Vader. Seems
I don't
good.
know, later. Or getting it back with Palpatine.
Getting it back with Palpy. Play only during your deployment phase. Take control of a target non-unique character unit. Now,
I'm going to take that sleuth. Or it's not character. Dang it.
yeah, obviously, sirens go off for me where it's like, this is a conditional card, and it isn't really good in an edge battle. So it will have moments of great triumph, and it will have moments of great hand choking, I feel like.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is bad. At least right now, in the current environment.
2v2, it's solid, I think, because your chances of seeing a character unit you might want to take are double. And the game won't always be where it is now. So vehicles might take a back seat.
That's what I want to preface it.
We
At
had
the moment,
smugglers.
the problem with this is that the cards you want to take are not non-unique characters. Hardly ever. Like, I'm trying to picture a non-unique character that has an impact on the game. And the best I can come up with is the Protector for Jedi. Like, that is the biggest thing I could think of
Well,
taking.
Cloud City Operative, maybe? I don't know.
You pay 2 for that?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I would pay 2.
They did.
I think it's possible that it works well with other cards. You take a unit and then you aggression, so they can't just sack the little character that's not that good. But really, being non-unique, only during your deployment phase, it just makes this card, like, it's so in a box that I can't use it. It's
a big conditional box around this one, yeah.
It's crazy.
A giant
Big O
conditional
condition box.
I mean, the art's fantastic, and I'm sure
First
one day
step.
I'll lose to this card. But now we have 3 out of 4
Not
cards
this
that
day.
I'm not wanting in my deck. Let's see what else we
Not even really in a 2v2 to me. I'm not. And supporting fire. So Sith can do better. The problem is that Sith is
already doing better.
amazing. This doesn't provide any new answers, I don't think, that Sith didn't already have.
Which is good. I don't think they need more right now.
Yeah. I mean, Mara is a standout, but you can't run an entire objective just for her. So
It's tough. I mean, I think the objective is okay, and I think because of how many objectives you have to run in 2v2, it's possible that this gets played a decent amount. I think
I don't see this ever being in 1v1 though.
I think I don't know. I mean, you can use it. I just don't see a reason to.
The objective doesn't work. 3 of the cards are trash. Well, not trash, but trash.
Here's what I'll say. I wish that we had 2 Join Me's instead of this second Agent of the Hand. And that way, maybe, 6 months from now, a year from now, whenever there's this crazy non-unique character stuff going on, you have an answer. But, like, even if that happens, is it worth 1 Join Me in your deck just to try to counter a non-unique character that keeps popping up? Like, probably not.
Not the case.
Probably not.
I would say this is definitely the weakest objective we've seen so far. Now, it could be the case that this is really good against the challenge decks, because that's a little bit different of a game going on. So I won't completely count the objective out in general, but I'm not, outside of really wanting Mara in my deck at this point, not having
I mean, if you bought the box, you have it, so.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have it.
You're not losing anything. It's there.
It's accurate.
You don't have to give it away. Emperor's Hand, yeah.
All
It's
right.
the first hand I've gotten today.
Up next, we have Repair and Refurbish. It's a
Sounds
5
fancy.
health, 1 resource objective, limit 1 per deck.
Man, that art is really doing it too.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Giant ship, planet, space. That's all you need.
And tiny ships.
Tiny
Reaction:
ships is your scale.
after your turn begins, each friendly player may remove 1 damage from an objective he controls.
Oh man, that's good. That's so good. That is so good in every possible way.
Oh, wow.
All right, so 2v2 in
I thought I was going to have to resuscitate you there.
so good. In 2v2, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that is just bewilderingly good. And then I'm just thinking, in 1v1, this is Imperial, so it's probably going in an Imperial deck. I see a Star Destroyer. We're probably going to have a Star Destroyer in it. So there's just so much good going on here. You always want to remove damage. You're slowing the light side down. And there's so many objectives that need to be undamaged. It's just a ticking time bomb. And you can't go out, like, if Vader's Fist is on the table, do you really want to go after this? first.
Between Battle of Hoth and this, like Vader's Fist is looking pretty healthy.
It's not looking terrible.
It's good.
All right,
Anyway,
well,
let's see what
let's
we get.
continue.
Up
yeah.
next
Sorry
we
to
have
derail there.
we have
So
the
good.
Thunder Flare.
Fantastic. Good to see.
A 5-cost unique capital ship vehicle Death Squadron.
Is he, sounds pretty crazy. He's killing Redemption there, right? Is that what's going on? Or at least something that looks like
looks like
Redemption.
it.
He's killing that class of a ship, yes.
Okay.
It is 2 Force Icons. It has a black unit damage, a black blast damage, and 2 edge-enabled unit damage. He is elite. He has 4 health, and he has a reaction. After this unit is focused to strike, move 1 damage from the target friendly objective to a target enemy objective.
Oh my lord. It's so good.
So good.
I'm going to say that so many times in every video. from now
Elite
on.
on this kind of a thing is fantastic.
I mean, this is the best. This is such a good blocker. I mean, not against sleuths, but
And then you
three-
attack with it and move damage too. I mean,
Well, it's 3 damage, and I get to move damage on defense. It's just when I focus to strike. It's not even attacking.
Mm.
So you do damage to an objective, and I block, and I move the damage. I don't even need to win the edge battle. I don't even care to win the edge battle. I got
That's
4 health.
amazing.
You're probably not going to kill me unless you're going to focus me down. I'll let you win the edge.
This guy's great.
Yeah,
He's phenomenal.
you can only have 1 in your deck, fortunately, because
Man.
that's good
Are
stuff.
we going to see a Death Squadron deck at some point?
Yes.
Now,
We
I,
will.
I, may,
7
I may
years
get
from now.
I may get slayed here by people more knowledgeable than me, but is this pay down ship?
I think so.
Okay.
Whose ship?
Leon.
Oh man, I'm out of my league here, guys. I've watched the original 3 and some of the early ones, but we don't talk about those, do we?
All right, up next we have 2 logistics officers. They are 1 cost, 1 Force Icon character with 1 resource and 1 health. During your deployment phase, you may play this unit under the control of another friendly player. If you do, remove 1 damage from a target friendly objective available.
So this is like a duty officer on speed.
This is perfect. Like,
Yep.
this is a perfectly balanced 2v2 and 1v1 card.
Yep.
If nothing else, it's a resource, whatever.
I mean, based on what we're seeing, I could easily see this replacing the Admiral Mahdi objective set. We obviously don't get orbital bombardment, but you get 2 1-cost resource cards in 1v1 or 2v2. And it's important to note these are not Imperial cards. Duty officer is Imperial, so you have to spend an Imperial resource to even play it. This is not the case, but it's also not an Imperial resource.
Correct.
Also worth
Which is
noting.
also good because you can play it under your Sith partner's control. He can use his resource and you remove damage from his objective.
That's 2 of those is perfect.
This is great.
All right. So
then
what else
Also,
we-
wait, let me say this because Scum is a thing. We were talking just the other day about how Scum doesn't have resources. And now if you're partnering with a Scum deck, you can just throw your logistics officers over there and feed him the capture, resources.
Yeah,
I like it.
in 2v2, the ability to hand your opponent this resource without them having to spend a resource to get it out
Pretty
can
massive.
be massive.
Up next, we have the weapons upgrade.
Sure
Art.
looks cool.
Art.
Phenomenal
Look at
art.
what's going on there.
Yep.
They're upgrading that chip.
Take a moment. Just take it.
Full
Like,
time.
just imagine how that would be in space. Just unreal.
I think it'd be easier to build a ship in space.
It'd be way easy and super fun. Look at this guy in the suit there.
Probably a little risky, but go ahead.
It's a 1-cost enhancement. It has 2 Force Icons. It's an upgrade. You enhance a friendly vehicle unit. Then, if you do not control that unit, draw a card.
Easy.
The enhanced unit gains a black blast damage.
I think this is okay
think it's
in
great.
1v1,
Yeah, it's
and I think
solid.
it's really good in 2v2.
And I actually think the 2 Force icons there are big for that because if nothing else, it can get it done in a lot of ways. It can be the edge card. It can help your friend out, draw, and it
It's
can
worth
also just
noting
give
that
you an objective damage.
It's worth noting that this enhances a vehicle unit, not a fighter, not a TIE or any of the other small,
Right.
minute areas that you don't want to see. It's like I can't play this on him because he's not
Yeah.
actually a fighter. Like
He's a
you can-
transport. Or he's
Throw it on
yeah.
anything.
You
Yeah.
can enhance, Star
Anything.
Destroyers. You can enhance the
Slave
TIE
One,
Attack
you can
Squadron,
enhance TIE Fighter in general. Just a little TIE Fighter.
and then you round off the pack with a supporting fire.
I never saw it coming.
I think that objective set is in 2v2 is just insanely good.
I would absolutely run this in 1v1.
I would be
too.
willing to say it's so good.
Is it so good though? Is it? Yeah, I think it's phenomenal.
So imagine the Imperial deck, right? We haven't really seen this, but the Imperial deck that just heals its objectives constantly, right?
So
annoying and gives them the +3 damage capacity thing.
Yeah.
Like, there could be some dumb stuff there. Just saying.
Good luck.
Sadly,
Hard-
that's
hard to
only one
Empire.
objective.
Yeah, it is. But we're building. We're
Oh
building
man,
the
Heart of the
theme
Empire
here.
could be good there.
We're building the theme.
It's not.
Maybe Heart of the Empire was better. All right. Next up, we have the final legal and 1v1 and 2v2 objective: Mercenary Support. It's a smuggler card, and hopefully
That art.
it's good. The art is
That
amazing. It's a
art.
5/1 limit, 1 per objective deck. Action.
The James Bond.
It is. It's actually. I'll stop. Action. Focus this objective to put a bounty hunter or mercenary unit into play from your hand under a friendly player's control. If that unit is still in play at the end of the phase, discard it.
That's huge.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I'm gonna be honest
I
here.
can play Boba Fett for one.
I
for a turn.
nearly had a heart attack like you did just then.
When I
Oh my
first opened
gosh.
this box, this objective made me immediately build a
Scum and Villainy
Scum and
deck.
Villainy deck. Read Mercenaries. I was saying that. And the first game I played, this came out, and it was crazy. The first turn where I got attacked, I had 1 resource open. My opponent was like, "You have 1 resource open, right?" And I was like, "Yep." And then I popped in Boba Fett on the defense. Was hilarious. It was
Captured.
just hilarious. I killed the unit, focused on another unit, and then Boba Fett gets discarded, which is fine by me.
It's way better than playing 4 for him. To just die.
Yeah, I mean, this ability is insanely good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. To get a mercenary for a
I
turn.
didn't even mean to do that there, but
It's
really
contagious
good.
now.
That is really good.
There's a lot of really good ways to use this,
The
obviously.
green cards, man, they're coming
So,
around.
Yeah.
I think it's great. For one, even being able to threaten it, like you can't just attack with a Y-wing anymore. If I could be totally focused out, it's a threat. Like if I have anything in my hand, I can block, focus something down. It could be bad.
I like it.
Very
Boy, it
good.
really opens the game up too for later on mercenaries that could be really abusive without bounty hunters.
Yep, that is good.
Get old Dingar in there.
All right, next up, we have a unique vehicle transport, the Punishing one. 2 costs, 2 force icons, unit damage, objective damage, 2 health. Reaction: after your deployment phase begins, move 1 captured card from an objective to a different dark side objective.
It's building to a theme.
Yeah, it's all right. What a lame looking ship, guys.
That's what it looks like.
Hey,
right?
you can't make fun of this. There are people that it will.
Well,
Slay you over
the
this.
name the name is not intimidating at all, and the ship just looks like an old like World War II bomber there. I'm just not impressed. Hey, whoever designed this ship in the Star Wars universe, not impressed. Not
Well,
impressed.
I'll let you take that up with the Star Wars guys.
Sorry if anyone's a Punisher One fan.
No, I mean I think the objective.
This guy's cheap,
He is cheap and
super cheap.
doesn't care about the edge battle. He really plays well with the objectives that automatically capture cards. Sometimes you can't always have the objective that captures cards and the objective that moves cards and then the objective that cares to have captured cards out. So the ability to move the cards, I think, is big.
And he doesn't have to do anything; just sit there and it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think for 2, that's
It's nice.
a solid card.
The Tatooine Crash is one that comes to mind where I just
Mhm.
have like 6 cards captured there because I
And you
want to
can-
capture, but I can just like even them out a little bit so it's
Yeah.
less eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think it's potentially to that theme very important for the Scum and Villainy. Next up, we get 2 Trandoshan security teams.
Pause.
This
We're holding.
art.
Nope, we're pausing.
It's not even for the art. It's not even for the art. It's just to prepare ourselves for how awesome this card is going to be, because we happen to know that it is. Tim and I were talking about it earlier. This is like a card that
It's a godsend.
it makes. I mean, if you had 6, the ability to get like 6 to 8 of these in a Scum and Villainy deck, it would change the world. I
You
mean,
can only get 2.
only 2, and that still is pretty world changing.
So it's 3 cost unit,
World changing.
3 health. Character, it's a mercenary, so you can pay 1 to put him in. Just throwing it out there. During engagement against a dark side objective, this unit may strike in combat even if it is not participating in the engagement.
Oh, that's so good.
3 health.
So Sleuth Scout attacks. You don't block, you kill it. It's dead. You're fine. No heated battles, nothing fancy.
Do you kill it?
2 health.
Well, how are you gonna win that edge battle?
That's true. That's true. Well, you block with the duty officer.
Oh
Then you win
no,
the edge battle.
there's play here, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's considering for 2v2 as well, where I let you borrow a unit to block, and then this guy can also strike.
Yes,
There's a lot.
it's
a lot
massive.
going on.
I wish he were 2 cost, 2 health, because I don't think he's gonna be scrapping around that much. I don't think that 3 health will matter that much. But the threat of always 1 unit damage, no matter what happens, whenever you come into attack a dark side objective, you can take at minimum 1, and if there's 2 out, you can take 2 unit damage just for nothing. Like nothing you can do about it.
You can also enhance this guy with a blaster pistol. BT dubs.
Tim getting that blaster pistol up in there.
That card used to be trash in my mind, and it is no longer trash.
You're getting, yeah.
You just enhance this guy, and it's like, oh, now this loose cat really does die.
Now he really does die.
You just shoot things as they come in. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's
fantastic.
a solid character. It's
and you
good.
get 2 of them.
I think he's great.
It's just
I just wish he slayed Wookiees harder. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Always, because there's a ton of Wookiees roaming about, and you never know when you're going to run into one. Next up, we have a 6-cost Scum event, a price on their heads. The art is amazing.
So good.
It has 4 Force Icons, which is actually really good for Scum. Just the idea of them having it is good.
You have to always be... Do they have it right
Yep.
now? Or is it going to be the next one? Or the next one?
It's a bounty. Action. Target up to 2 units, each controlled by a different light side player. Capture each targeted unit.
I mean, obviously in 2v2, this is a turn breaker. Like this is the turn for you. Like your Scum player playing this is why you brought that Scum player. Like in a lot of games.
It's the only reason that Scum player is sitting next to you.
Like one of the main things. Like that's crazy. And I imagine eventually we'll get some search for a bounty card type stuff. Maybe an objective.
Posted bounty.
That would make sense. But yeah, huge edge battle card, huge tempo card. Oh my gosh!
And it's worth noting this card is not dead in 1v1.
No, it is not.
Like,
it is not.
6 to capture 1 unit is pricey, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's pricey until you need it.
It's all of Scum's resources for the entire game.
I mean, the timing of this card to me is phenomenal. I mean,
it's worth noting that it does not do played on your turn.
Force them into a block, force them into an attack. They think they're winning the game here. You pay 6, then you kill one of their things they didn't think you were going to kill. All of a sudden, it swings completely.
The other thing to think about it, like, even if I just leave 6 resources open as a Scum player, it's like, crap. Like, shoot. I can't play my good characters now.
I think you have to. You just have to do it. I mean, the interesting part of this for me is I feel like in 2v2, the odds of you seeing event cancel on the board are pretty high.
Yeah.
In most games that I played, one player was either playing Jedi or Smugglers, and not necessarily both on the board. But if they're Jedi, they have the event cancels. If they're Smugglers, they hopefully have Lando to cancel. I think.
Trust me, huh?
Yeah, I think event cancel in 2v2 is just such a big deal because of the Executor with aggression, because of just every event that gets really terribly bad in 2v2. Including this card. So
but they still have to have it.
I think this is an objective set we will see in 2v2 because it's worth having. It's a 4-edge card. I am not convinced that this card is... It's good, but...
I think it'll get there, personally.
That's a lot to invest if they can possibly cancel.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point, I think. It's a fair point. I really do think that we're going to see, like, reduce the cost to play a bounty event by 2 kind of cards to like search for. I think this theme is going to be pushed forward a lot more, and this is probably going to end up being like a staple. It's certainly in 2v2, maybe 1v1 as well if it gets there.
A bounty theme would be awesome.
Well, I think for me,
it's gonna happen.
This card it's not a dead card. It's great for the edge battle. I think it's super useful in 2v2 if they can't cancel it. I think it's useful in 1v1 if they can't, and it's your only option. The real question to me about this objective set is, are the cards in it bad enough to not run the objective because the objective is insane? So I think the cards in them are good. And we finish off with a Supporting Fire. I think overall this objective set actually allows you to build a deck that wasn't really possible before. And the cards in it are nowhere near bad enough to not run.
I'll tell you, the reason I like the security team so much is they allow... I feel like Smugglers want to play a longer game than people... Scum want to play a longer game than people are used to playing. Right? Even as the dark side now, it's like, we're going to have the capability to destroy 2 to 3 objectives and, like, end this thing out. But, like, with the capture mechanic kind of just slowly turning tempo your direction, and then the Trandoshans being able to whittle their forces down without being at risk, and just staying on the board turn after turn, you're taking 1-2 unit damage over and over again.
You can only do that for so long.
And I feel like maybe they are doing kind of a long tempo play on the Scum side, and
I love it.
We could see that actually take shape with with this new objective, and certainly more to come. So yeah, solid and
Yeah.
listener support. Really, really solid card.
I think this objective will see a lot of 2v2 play, and I think there will be decks in 1v1 that use this, especially players that just can't not run scum decks.
You gotta run it. You got you got the one in the group that's gonna run scum.
I'm that person now.
Tim is that person. Yeah, he's that
I was
person.
tired.
They
of
do
losing.
exist.
I was tired of losing in the beginning, but
All
now.
right.
Now I'm losing my soul.
All right, so essentially what we have here is the 6 objective sets that are legal in all formats, and what do we think overall? I think obviously the Sith one is the weakest. We agree. Probably won't see much in 1v1, if any. Probably won't even see a whole lot in 2v2.
I agree with
feel
that.
like. Could see some of the challenge decks, as we'll get to in the later videos there, but overall, man, I think this is a really rip-roaring start for this concept of 2v2 and 1v1 cards that work
It's
in
making
both.
me really excited for the future of the 2v2 and just the game itself. I'm really liking where the design team is going with all of these cards and the synergies and then the design space that they're really starting to explore finally.
Yeah.
I just think it's good.
Opening up, yeah.
I think I'm most impressed by most of these objectives being on the same level in 1v1 and 2v2. So I don't know. I think Rebel, Imperial, and Jedi all got a pretty major boost here,
Mhm.
and they're the ones that needed it the most. I don't think Sith needed anything fancy. I don't think Smugglers need better cards. Scum needs as many cards as they can possibly
Mhm.
get.
Totally.
And it's been a while since we had objectives. It's been a couple months since the last Force pack, so it's really nice to just have new decks in your brain. And I think they did a really extraordinary job balancing these out for 2v2 and 1v1.
I agree.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This is the first part of the Balance of the Force unboxing, looking at these universal objectives. And later on, we're going to dive into those challenge decks, see what that format looks like, how to play it. And I can tell you it's a phenomenal thing. I haven't played it yet. I know you have, and you've been telling me about it, and it looks really cool. So we're going to get that going. If you want to pick up Balance of the Force from us, we'd love that. You can find it on our store, teamcovenant.com/store. And we'll get that out to you immediately whenever you order. Probably not, well, it depends on when you order, but as soon as humanly possible is what we say. So thanks for watching, and we'll have more from Balance of the Force coming up.